Good morning, guys. It's time for another first impression video. Well, welcome back to my channel, guys. I don't know why I did that. It's time for another first impression video. This is going to be on a series that released on Netflix. Now, it just released. Time of recording for me. Not sure how long I would take to post this video, but it's actually a decent series. It's called Yakitori: Soldiers of Misfortune. Now, didn't know much about what it was going to be. Yakitori, at least in my small amount of knowledge of Japanese, I knew that yakitori was a type of food that is usually served in a skewered stick. So it's kind of like meat mixed with vegetables. Um, and I was confused. Soldiers of Misfortune does not fit with yakitori. And when I watched it and they explained why they would call it yakitori, it just made sense, and it was horrible. So, before anything, guys, if you haven't done so by now, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Give some love by commenting, liking, and sharing. I am reviving my Instagram and Twitter. So, if you've never joined, now's the time to join. I will have it in the description below. So, make sure you guys join my Instagram and Twitter. I'm trying my best. So far, it's been good. I think last night I had an overflowing of likes in one post. So I'm hoping to hopefully at least revive Instagram. So um, yeah. Okay, Yakitori Soldiers of Misfortune. It is found on Netflix. It's only 6 episodes long, but I would say it's still your typical 12 episode length, and because each episode is about 43, 44 minutes, so you still get 20. Like, you can still technically get 12, 20-minute long episodes if you cut each episode in half. It does make it harder to watch one episode because you have to commit to those 40 minutes. And sometimes, it was easier to just watch a 20-minute episode. Now, obviously, each one will probably have a few things here and there where you guys can stop and get back to it. But I myself, if I start an episode, I like to finish it. Um, so I guess first thing I want to say, the first episode goes back and forth from, I guess, present to um, past to further past. So there's kind of like three timelines that they're showing. The first one is the present. They're already in war with, I can only explain as the hamster alien type of soldiers. They they're kind of seen like primitive soldiers. They're kind of the bottom of the chain. Eventually, we find out from the alien race at least, and they're fighting back against two races that they hate the most, which is the dogs and the cats. Um, we learn that through the episode because we get bits and pieces here and there. Again, they're going back and forth from three different timelines. We also learned that essentially they were trying to make treaties with them, and it didn't go well. So our human soldiers were the ones that basically put up a good fight. The dogs and cats were transporting a specific, I guess, leader, which was a cat, and they were showcasing soldiers, which weren't really soldiers; they were just decoys. And yeah, they ended up being attacked, and the humans are the ones who were really keeping it together. Now, towards the end of the episode, they really get attacked, and they're basically at this point are hoping to survival because they definitely don't have the upper hand anymore. Second timeline is before the whole war or battle started, and it's the humans coming in, and essentially there we start learning that humans are kind of talked down to. Dogs are kind of like I want to say, I guess compared to U.S. terms, they're like the upper middle class. They're people that they're definitely leaders within their own communities, definitely seen above people, and if you compare it to anyone else, they're like, they're rich, right? But they're still not the highest in the chain, which is weird because you would think from dogs and cats, dogs would have been on top, but dogs are really like the main core of the army, of this union of aliens, and they talk down to these humans. Now we eventually find out through this timeline. Is it this timeline? I think they mentioned it in two timelines, but why they're called Yakitori, and that's because um, humans are at the bottom of the food chain in this world, and essentially they're called yakitori because other than being food for these aliens, the other good use for them is being soldiers. So if they die, they might be eaten by their fellow soldiers, which is kind of weird and horrible to think of, but that's why they're called yakitori. Um, we don't really get a lot from this timeline other than getting up to the first scene of them fighting these hamster-liking soldiers. We see them. We see a lot of the hate within them against the cats and dogs. We see how the cats they act like cats, like they're superior of everyone in there, and the dogs are very loyal to them and essentially are keeping everyone in check. The third timeline is him before becoming a soldier, and essentially he explains how things were run there in Japan, how things came down, and essentially um, there's very few jobs that you can take in Japan to basically not be food or not be a soldier. And he ends up getting in a fight in one of his jobs. He gets recruited to the army, and he's explained that he can basically have a you know, good paid life if he just works for the army for only 2 years. The only problem is rate for surviving, not even fighting, surviving not in war is 50%. There's very low percent when there is war, and if you do survive, it's you win the lotteries is how they explain it if you come back home with all your body intact. So it's not an easy task, but that's essentially why he joins the army. So in a nutshell, it's a pretty good series. It kind of does an umbrella of all these different timelines and how they connect to each other, and eventually comes to this present time where they're in trouble. And I really, 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 really liked it because when I first started watching it, the animation, I noticed it was kind of like more of the futuristic, contemporary, 3D style that sometimes I'm just not all for. I sometimes, it's just, I don't know, it's too much for me sometimes. So I was really iffy starting the episode, but I did end up liking it. So yeah, hopefully I can finish this series in the next few days and review it for you guys. Again, depending when there's the review, I'll try to have at least a week apart from the review and the actual first impressions. But yeah, pretty good series. Do recommend it. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you haven't done so by now, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Give some love by commenting, liking, and sharing. Go check out my other stuff here in this channel and follow me on social media. It is in the description below. Thank you for your love again. And oh gosh, I got the hiccups. Like always, don't be strangers. See you guys.